Do you love Dark Souls 3? Do you love to cry? Well, you're in luck, because today we are reacting to the Prepare to Cry series from VaatiVidya himself. Today we're going to be covering The Duty of Anri and Horace, Greirat the Thief, The Nameless King's Betrayal, Yhorm the Lonely Ruler, Sulyvahn the Tyrant, Patches the Unbreakable, which I'm very excited about, the Grand Betrayal, and Hawkwood the Deserter. So, without further ado, guys, welcome back to Lore and Chill, the chillest place on the internet to watch me watch lore, I guess. We're gonna kick it off, guys, with The Duty of Anri and Horace, which I'm very excited to hear about. Anri, my wife, I miss her every day. Let's learn more about her. And Horace, of course. Let's go.
My duty must be done, even alone.
Water.
The children I knew, bless their souls.
Go get some.
Anri and Horace, two of the only children to have ever escaped the clutches of Aldrich, the man-eater. Now, undead and unkindled, they stride willingly back into his grasp.
Sad.
Oh, hello. How do you do?
I love her.
I am Anri of Astora, unkindled like you.
Little fun fact that I heard in the comments when we first met them. Apparently, if you play with a female character, Anri becomes, she ends up being a man, which is super cool. I didn't know that. Thank you guys for letting me know, as always. Sorry, I paused 30 seconds in. This is okay.
Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder?
Yes.
We seek the cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords.
Her
The
voice
next time
actor
we
is
cross
so
paths,
good.
One may find the other in a time of need.
Yes.
Oh yes, Horace. He's not very talkative.
I was so confused by
Don't
Horace.
think ill of him.
Just making sounds when we met
He's
him.
an upstanding, kind-hearted knight. A fine
Yes, he
partner
is.
for this grueling journey. Please stop it! You've gone hollow, have you? Then I shall put
Holy
you to
sh**,
rest.
Vati. Okay.
Horace, join
Starting off
me,
strong.
and may the flames watch over us.
Damn. Cool, so they just fight you together? If you strike them? Oh, okay, well, Horace is down.
Oh, Horace, why? Don't leave me. Not you. Not like the others. Oh, Horace. Horace. Everyone, forgive me. I was weak on my own.
What the f***?
From this, we learn of Anri's fear. Fear that those by her side will die.
Damn.
You can imagine this fear would have been born from her childhood in the cathedral, as the children alongside her were sacrificed. So if Horace lives, then he remains a source of strength to her for a little longer. Anri's Blue Sentinel.
Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
Oh my god.
At the end of the road of sacrifices sits the Cathedral
Damn.
of the Deep.
This is why
And
Vati's
deep
the
within
goat,
the
man.
cathedral is the monumental coffin of Aldrich, the man-eater.
A right and proper cleric. Only he developed a habit of devouring men. He ate so many that he bloated like a drowned pig, then softened into sludge. So they stuck him in the Cathedral of the Deep.
Back then, the Cathedral of the Deep was a holy place, full of God-fearing deacons devoted to the Way of White and to the linking of the fire. And it was imperative that the fire be linked, for that's the way it's always been. At the end of every cycle, a powerful being must be sacrificed to keep the flame lit.
Right.
The cathedral?
Wait, so,
place?
sorry, in the cathedral, there were, like, Aldrich was also eating children? Like, they kind of left that out, man. I thought he was devouring gods, but I guess the children, too. Okay, so Anri had a very messed up upbringing, as we can see. I don't know where I was going with this. That was a lot of information, and this is already off to an amazing start. Hearing Anri say, you know, Horace, please don't leave me, almost brought a tear to my eye. So maybe this will be the first Prepare to Cry that actually makes me cry. I'm kidding. I'm dead inside. Okay, let's go.
Sacrifice may well have been designed for this. So it came to be that a saint named Aldrich was sacrificed.
And they made him a lord of Cinder, not for virtue, but for might. Such as a lord, I suppose.
The fire doesn't care if you've consumed men, women, children. If that's made you more powerful, then all the better. So Aldrich,
Jesus.
this terrible, gluttonous saint, must have been powerful indeed. The deacons tended to the flame, and slowly they were corrupted by the evil they were tending to. Eventually, of course, even this fire faded. The world darkened. But this time, no one stepped forward to link the fire, so the world continued to darken, till the firelink bell tolled. Lords of old rose from their graves, Aldrich among them, brought back to link the fire again. These lords came back clinging to life, and they were loath to let it go, so they refused to sit their thrones once more. And with this refusal came the unkindled, ashen undead, each tied to a lord. Sigurd to Yhorm, the giant's friend, Hawkwood to the legion he abandoned, and Anri to Aldrich, whose clutches she escaped as a child. After her and Horace escaped the Cathedral of the Deep, they went on to do great things. Anri found herself drawn to the land of Astora, as it was being destroyed by the spirit of the evil eye. With nothing but a dull blade and luck, she defeated the creature. Horace killed a corrupt executioner. He stripped the executioner of his armor and gave it a new legacy. He would become a blue sentinel, protecting the weak from Rosaria's fingers, these red phantoms who take the tongues of those they kill in battle. I'd say that explains the voice. And death could not keep either of them. With Horace undead and Anri unkindled, they rejoin forces and fight their way back into this horrific home they left as children.
That's so cool, man.
To fight
Full
a
circle.
familiar evil that rises again. And, alas, Anri and Horace find themselves staring into an empty coffin.
Man, sometimes I really wish that I use summons throughout these games. Like, obviously, my ego sometimes doesn't let me. I like to tackle bosses on my own, but fighting alongside Anri and Horace would have been so freaking cool. Now understanding the lore, I can still appreciate it, obviously, just watching it. But and apparently, Slave Knight Gale was also someone that we could summon for, I think, the demon fight in the DLC, which again would have been really cool also. But maybe in the future, I mean, I'm saying the future like we have Souls games left. Well, we have Demon Souls, and I don't know if Sekiro has summons, but if it does, maybe we can summon the first time, see who it is, fight for a little bit, and then, you know, do it alone. I don't know. Anyways, this is amazing.
I'm well pleased to see you safe. We reached the Cathedral of the Deep, but Aldrich's coffin was empty.
Right.
The man-eater must have left for his true home. The little doll in the empty coffin told me.
The little
Wherever
doll
you
told
go,
her.
The moon still
Right.
sets in Irithyll. Wherever you may be.
But we used to get inside of Irithyll.
Is your home.
A pilgrim told me that the city lies beyond Farron Keep, and so becomes our destination.
Wow. Right, and then all of this happens.
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace?
Yep.
To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated.
So how did he go crazy? That's what I want to
find
know.
him since.
If you tell Anri where he is, then Anri will go to find him, full of fear that she might have to confront Aldrich, this childhood horror, alone.
She
But
can't
a
live
hollow
without him.
Remembers no one.
Oh, right,
So it is better that she go on alone.
Oh, Horace, where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me? No. What a horrible thought.
Aww.
We find Anri next in the church of Yorshka.
By
She's
herself.
alone, she's tired. You can see this in her stance. She's losing faith, and she's so close to Aldrich, who hides behind the pontiff who called him home.
Oh, I thought it might be you.
She still sounds so, like, welcoming and nice. Dude, her voice actor, she did an amazing job, and thank you. Like, you really just brought Anri to life, man. Like, it's just, such a good character. Oh, this is why I love these videos, man. You can hear the dialogue while you're playing. You can, you know, look at how they look. You know, I didn't pick up on her stance looking tired, but I'm sure some would. But still, it's so hard to put everything together, and especially the way Vaati does it in, like, one video. Cinematic, music, cool shots. Really brings it to life. And I swear, every time we watch these Lore and Chill videos, I just feel like this second playthrough that we do of these games are just they're just gonna be so much better because we're gonna have all this information and it's just gonna hit so different. Like I feel like second playthroughs might be better than first playthroughs for like FromSoft games. I don't know, like from a lore perspective and like understanding of the world. But second playthroughs coming soon. Joking, maybe. I don't
She's
know.
losing faith, and she's so close to Aldrich, who hides behind the pontiff who called him home.
Oh, I thought it might be you. Good to see you.
She's so sweet.
I never managed to find Horace. But my duty must be done, even alone. As an unkindled Lord Seeker.
She's so brave.
For the children I knew, bless their souls. We all have our reasons, don't we?
Sure.
Unkindled are born from the ash of undead who tried to link the fire in a past age. Unkindled can go hollow too, just as Horace did, reverting to that hollow state, devoid of a soul. Even lords can go hollow, but it is men who are branded with the dark sign that leaks their humanity, their soul, from them.
Wow.
Here, if you do nothing, then Anri will go hollow. But what if there is more to the dark sign, to hollowing?
We pilgrims of Londor are keenly aware that those branded by the dark sign possess something quite special.
I'm so glad we did this whole quest line. Even if we didn't get the
A
ending,
pilgrim told me that the
so glad we
city
did it.
lies beyond Farron Keep.
a pilgrim told her. It was him.
Named Anri.
Huh.
She is hollow and will join thee in wedlock. A fellow of mine guides her at this moment.
God, dude, I didn't even fucking notice it was children statues. Oh, what the fuck? How do you not notice this? That's awesome. I mean, fucked up, but it's awesome.
When the time is ripe, thou mayst make thy salutations. For what lord taketh no spouse?
To become a Lord of Hollows is to embrace the curse that
can't watch
mankind
this.
was given. You make it your strength, not your weakness. You embrace a new identity. But you must take the sigils of others in the name of that goal. And as you wrest the flame from its mantle, Anri kneels in the background, her purpose forgotten in
She's in
exchange
the
for your...
background of this? What the fuck? She's back?
Anri kneels in the background, her purpose forgotten.
Yeah, there she is. Oh my god, that's so cool, dude. I'm still standing by my ending. I liked it, but this seems like it was just kind of cool. Oh man, shit.
In exchange for yours. Would you abandon your humanity for this?
What the fuck? Why, lady? Oh, that's in the church.
You are brave indeed, to face your duty alone. I would do well to learn from you. May the flames guide your way.
And yours.
But neither of you are alone. Together, you kill the pontiff.
What? You get to fight
and
alongside.
together,
Oh,
you face Aldrich.
and Aldrich.
I thought it might be you. Then I'm afraid, Horace. No. This only bolsters my resolve.
She speaks during the
Please.
fight too.
Lend me your strength.
You know how fucking
Help
cool
me
that is?
vanquish Aldrich, the man-eating fiend. Yes. We did it. I owe this to you. Thank you. Truly. Horace, we've done it. We really have.
What the fuck?
Knowst thou the name Anri of Astora? The brave girl left this as thanks. Now, heed this little warning from this little lord. Seek not the girl. She knoweth her fate, what will become of her upon her duty's end. She would not wish thee follow her.
Her duty fulfilled, Anri will hollow in one of two places. If you told her where Horace hollowed, but killed him to protect her, Then Anri places one last prism stone and hollows alongside her companion, her duty fulfilled.
What?
If Anri never found Horace, then she hollows in front of these tiny graves, maybe built for Horace, or for the children.
I missed all of this.
So, how will your story end?
Neither. What the fuck? I remember we after I killed Horace, I went back up to see her and to, like, you know, just see if she had any dialogue, and she was gone. So we didn't actually even get the chance to tell her that we found him, but he was dead. Fuck. That was amazing. I was crying on the inside, guys. Alright, we're doing Greirat the Thief next, guys. I hope you're excited. I'm very excited. Greirat was a character that I very much liked. He would go out to pillage and bring us goodies, and he would talk to us from time to time, and you know, he was just a nice guy. He was one for the people. You know, I really appreciated his companionship. I feel like this one might get me, guys. Let's go.
In Souls, we talk a lot about disparity, about what lies between light and dark, life and death, heat and cold, and today we discuss two different absolutes. We discuss what lies between those with power and those without. And in this case, what lies between them is a wall, a stone wall that appeared quite suddenly, cementing this divide between hollows and the nobles who control them. And mind you, wall or not, there has always been a divide. In the days of Lordran, humanity was a rising force, and as a result, they were feared, imprisoned, and shepherded.
Crazy.
They were taught to fear the undead rising in their ranks. In Drangleic, the undead were subjugated once more, of course, but they were also experimented upon, and all the while they were expected to sacrifice themselves, as Gwyn once did, to keep those royals in power.
Damn.
And now, in Lothric, the unkindled, born of the ash of these unending sacrifices, journeys through a small town of suffering undead. It was here where a thief once fancied himself a martyr for the poor. It was the state of this town that drove Greirat to climb the wall.
Greirat the Thief was once a
There's that
well-known
voice.
name.
I miss him
Till
already.
I ended up rotting in a cell.
The head covering he wears was once used to cover the heads of the lesser folk, people who were set to work as slaves throughout Lothric. But occasionally it was used to shame and humiliate criminals. We
Wow.
have reason to believe that Greirat was indeed a slave to the kingdom once, for he knows the castle grounds well. But here in Lower Lothric, Greirat is caught and imprisoned for the very first time.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you? No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable. If that's true, then I have a favor to ask. Below the high wall is a musty little town. Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of undead. An old woman, Loretta, lives there. Please, give her this ring. I'm not asking for charity. In fact, if you do this for me, I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty. What do you say then, huh? Very well. I humbly place my faith in you. I am Greirat of the Undead Settlement, and I promise to assist you.
Oh man, he did keep his promise. And I gotta say, if it wasn't for you guys, I definitely would have missed the first Greirat location. We raised the banner. I was ready to head into this village, and if it wasn't for some of you in the comments, I wouldn't have gone back. And the same thing happened with Loretta. She was off to the right on that balcony, completely missed it. And that's why I like reading comments, you know. May not be a fully blind playthrough, because I do take on suggestions from time to time, but it makes my playthrough a lot more enjoyable. It makes the videos a lot more enjoyable, I think, because we ended up doing entire quest lines thanks to you guys and the communication we have. So one of the biggest perks of making videos online and having such a amazing community. So far I haven't cried though. Body, come on now.
Loretta at the base of the high wall. Do your part and I'll do mine.
Also, this village reminded me of the
Can't
Resident
know
Evil 4
who
village
Loretta was.
so much.
We don't know why her corpse clutches a bone, nor do we know what Greirat's relationship to her was. The one detail we do know is that the little rare ring he gives us to give to her is a tear stone, which has the uncanny ability to sense imminent death, protecting its wearer in their final moments. So, whoever she was to him, it seems he cared for her and sensed her death was close.
No.
Heavens, she was already dead. Thank you. I'm not surprised, though. Almost a relief, really. You can keep the ring.
Sounds like she was suffering and he knew about it.
Well, a little trinket of thanks, I suppose.
He breaks his composure when you appear back, and from then on dedicates himself fully to your cause.
Ah, there you are. I was thinking. You know I'm a petty thief. Well, perhaps I'll go on the prowl. Everyone's dead or hollowed away anyway, right? So I might as well fetch some weapons or treasure for you. Well, what do you say? Thank you. You will not be disappointed. I will leave for some time. So long for now. Do stay safe, you hear? Or my efforts will have been
Fucking
for naught.
hated those cage boyos.
Don't
So
take
much.
Greirat's robbery of the undead settlement lightly. It was his home. It was the poor there who inspired him to climb the wall and risk his life, and it was a settlement where he cared deeply for someone. His thievery of the settlement is kind of an admission that everyone there no longer matters to him. You do. And so, emboldened by his new purpose, he asks to put himself in harm's way once again.
Oh, hello. Fine work, I say.
I love Greirat so much.
Discovering in the Boreal Valley, all in a day's work. If the tales are true, it is home to old moon-worshipping nobles, and should be packed with treasure. What do you think? Shall I go and see what I can find?
Yes.
A fine choice. I am Greirat the Thief. What I bring back will be worthy of that name.
That name is also known by others.
I
Yes.
see you've met Greirat. The slinking rodent. But he did me a good turn back in Lothric Dungeon. Doubtless I should do something about that little dead. Well, maybe not. Well, I can hardly believe he's still standing.
This is Patches, the hyena, the spider, the Unbreakable.
The hyena.
By now we have a pretty good grasp of his character, and it's this same character who, for the first time, expresses a genuine concern about the well-being of another.
Yeah.
Hey,
I did find
what
that odd.
happened to Greirat anyhow? I haven't seen him at all lately.
They were
If you know
pals?
where he scurried off to, be sure and tell me. But I need to stock up.
Or he wanted to
If
kill
he's
him.
got
That's
a
what I
boat,
thought.
He'll have left a gold mine.
Yeah. Classic Patches. Don't
Right.
tell.
Yes, I see how it is.
I think I ended up telling
Some
him.
things can't be divulged, even between friends.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, that's the dude we fought on the bridge. So I guess if you don't kill it, he comes down to the water? That's pretty gnarly.
It comes with the territory, I know. But if
Hated
you
that
happen
thing.
to recall any details, do be a saint. Do it for old Patch's Boutique of Wonders at least, eh?
Boutique of Wonders.
If Patches is still alive to tell you this, then it means you've forgiven him for a great deal of things.
I've always
You've forgiven
forgive him.
him for impersonating the Onion Knight, for locking you in a tower. He's tried to kill you twice now, probably, and it's understandable, right, that you wouldn't want to tell him where your friend has gone.
Yeah, I don't think I told him. Or I think I told him, but he was already off to pillage or something. I don't remember it quite well, even though it happened like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Patches, like, I think I had the wrong idea at the end of Patches' questline when he was pretending to be Lap, or maybe he was Lap. I'm not sure. We're going to watch his in a bit, and I'm very excited about that. But he ends up, like, kind of helping us in that last encounter after Midir, the first encounter with Midir, which is kind of interesting. So I'm looking forward to that one. I think that one's towards the end, but I still hate this guy, though. Don't get me wrong.
However, Greirat can be saved by the very thief you tried.
Fucking hate those things, man.
Well, happen to
Hate a lot of enemies.
about where that old rat scurried off to. What? Gone all the way to Irithyll, has he? There can't be much left of that frozen sprawl. The old rat. He's gone off the deep end this time.
Was Greirat truly saved by Sigurd here? It's possible. Or rather, was he saved by an impersonator who was protecting their reputation?
Oh.
Then we're both safe and sound.
Oh, shit.
Thank the gods for that. I don't like getting things so close. I might have died if it wasn't for that peculiar onion night.
So it was Patches in the onion suit?
And it all paid off.
No, but we had already gotten the suit.
They're sure to be of some use. You know, I was thinking about leaving for another round of thieving. There must be something of use in Lothric Castle. I'm aware of the danger. That castle is a death trap. Not a single man has returned from the castle unscathed, even back in the day. But I don't want to sit around and die a petty rat.
He should have stayed.
Myself your friend.
Off to Lothric.
We were friends. Still are friends.
That old thief's lost it if he thinks he has a chance in there. It's not like he's new to this game. What's got into him?
His debt repaid, even Patches wouldn't risk Lothric for a friend. But Greirat will. He risks it for us. Self-sacrifice is in his character.
I took the same approach. Oh wait, no, I didn't.
But I don't
just kept
think
going for the fire.
we're the only reason he goes. Think back to when he hid his grief over Loretta, to how he's so absorbed that he doesn't even notice you. Immediately after this, he dives into danger on your behalf, his sorrow, apparently, forgotten. Don't you think that's strange? I don't think his sorrow is forgotten at all.
I lived a petty rat, but would rather not die as one.
Greirat the Thief. A petty rat looking for an honorable escape.
Oh no! Fuck, man. These go by so fast because you're so into it and you just don't want it to end. That was really good. That was really good. I already loved Greirat when we played the game. I love him so much more now, guys. All right, moving on to the next. Still not crying, but that one almost got me. Now we're moving on to the Nameless King's Betrayal, which I'm very excited about. Love the Nameless King. I'm sure this is going to be hella interesting. Maybe it won't make us cry because it's betrayal. You know, it won't be like super. I mean, who knows? Yeah, I'm excited. Let's go.
To tell the story of Gwyn's children is to tell the story of Gwyn himself.
Sorry.
For his children were all born.
Sorry, that caught me so off guard. Bro, I've never seen them that bright. All right, sorry.
To fulfill a purpose.
Focus.
Gwyn's first story is to tell the story of Gwyn's children is to tell the story of Gwyn himself. For his children were all born to fulfill a purpose.
Wait, Egg
Gwyn's
Lady
first
was
daughter,
Gwyn's daughter?
Guinevere was a maternal
Right,
figure
yeah.
cherished by all.
I knew that.
She was
Did I?
born to soothe the kingdom after a period of intense war against the dragons. Gwyn's son, Gwyndolin, was a master of illusion.
Right.
After Guinevere fled the failing kingdom in fear, it was Gwyndolin who disguised the fading of the light.
So cool.
And finally, Gwyn's youngest daughter, Filianor, was truly a product
yes, of
of
course,
her
yes, we
father's
did know
pride. For as long as she slumbered, Gwyn's world would not end. But there was a fourth child, a nameless king,
The first
erased
child.
from history, the god of war, Gwyn's firstborn son.
So cool.
The first war ever fought was the War for Disparity, A war for the right to flesh and blood, where before there was only stone. A war for the right to the surface, where before there was only the below.
Oh! Sorry guys, this reminds me. I saw a comment that apparently this cave here from the Dark Souls 1 cinematic is the same cave as the boss room of Midir. That's pretty fucking cool, man. I hope somehow that gets brought up, because I would love some more context, but that's pretty damn cool. I totally see the resemblance.
A war for the right to a beginning and to an end, for before there was neither. The everlasting dragons were to be introduced to the concept of the end, and it was Gwyn's firstborn son, like his brothers and his sisters to come, who was divinely conceived for this purpose. So it was that the son's eldest born inherited the lightning from his father, along with this powerful predisposition for war and arms. Damn. His weapon was an ingenious sword spear that leveraged the user's own body weight, allowing it to be trodden remarkably deep into tough dragonhide.
Cool.
This was the earliest form of what would become the cross spear, which went on to inspire the legendary weapon wielded by the dragon slayer Ornstein,
cool.
who was, unsurprisingly, anointed the first knight to the Nameless King himself. The Nameless King also wore an attire woven of sharp dragon scales, as they were themselves impervious to fire, and it seems that the best tools against the dragons were taken from the dragons themselves.
Makes sense.
A philosophy that another legendary figure, Havel, clearly took to heart, as the man cased himself in stone and took a legendary dragon tooth as his weapon.
So
Havel,
badass.
too, not only served the Nameless King in the war, but also his first knight Ornstein as well, becoming the third member of a legendary trio of dragon slayers, who would eventually come to inspire the miraculous tale known as Sacred Oath.
Wow.
And so, it was with strength, courage, cunning, and unity that the war for disparity was won.
Dragons shall never be forgotten. We knights fought valiantly, but for every one of them, we lost 70 of our own.
I remember getting chills when he said that during the DS1 playthrough.
Hatred.
That's fucking crazy.
Rage. The dragons teased out our dearest emotions. Thou will understand one day. Me, there's very little to be said. What good is a dog with no hairs to hunt? But I'm lucky to be alive, I suppose.
Just carving his little
With the war won,
stones. So
these
cute.
lords were the first to face an uncomfortable truth, that their glory, much like that of the dragons, would not last forever. The everlasting dragons were vulnerable now, and were forced to adapt to this unfamiliar and hostile world. So they gave birth, and slowly began to mutate and deviate in their evolution. Wyverns, serpents, man-serpents, and basilisks.
Ugh.
The imperfect, the crossbreeds, and the wretches. Dragons that spit fire, lightning, poison, and corrosion. Some even caught the undead curse. And so it was that despite Gwyn's best efforts, dragons and their kin lived on.
Right.
Some as unchanged as ever.
This dude was so cool, that dragon.
I have heard of a surviving ancient dragon who resides in this land. A coterie of undead serves the dragon, as they train to become dragons themselves. Sounds unlikely, but you never know, do you?
As the gods really should have known, faith always finds a way.
I did the same thing.
And ironically, it was the gods and not the dragons who failed to adapt. A war had been fought in the name of disparity, but Gwyn's Age of Fire was nothing of the sort. Darkness was the enemy now, and Gwyn would do anything to prevent his Age of Fire from ending. Anything. So how righteous, truly, could their war against the ancient, unchanging dragons have been when Gwyn himself refused to cede to the natural order? Thus began the betrayal of Gwyn's firstborn son.
Wow.
He is god of war, who allied with the remaining ancient dragons. Shamed by his firstborn's betrayal, enraged at his disobedience, and Driven by that famous desire to erase all that opposed him, Gwyn disowned his firstborn son. His royal blood was denied. His legacy was expunged from the annals of history, and the altars of his worship were smashed beyond
He just left the
recognition.
feet.
His name was lost forever. But as the gods ought to know, faith always finds a way, and the Nameless King had some faithful knights indeed. Look within the rubble of these statues. Look amidst the traces of the Nameless King's foot wrappings, his braces, his attire, and you might just spy a familiar cross-spear design
No way, dude.
belonging to the Firstborn's first knight, the Dragon Slayer Ornstein.
We walked through so
In the
many of those
Dragonless
statues,
age
man.
that followed the Nameless
No
King's
idea.
betrayal, Ornstein was assigned to guard the Grand Cathedral. And for the captain of the 4 Knights of Gwyn, this must have been a lowly role indeed, as he wasn't even guarding Gwyn's daughter. He was guarding an illusion.
He wanted
Nor
more.
was he alongside his fellow knights. Instead, he was partnered with Executioner Smo, a cannibal and a glutton, someone who could never call himself Ornstein's equal.
That's
As
awesome.
his fellow knights faded away, as Gwyn burned to cinder for his age, Ornstein eventually left the ruined cathedral and abandoned his post in order to search for the Nameless King that he once served.
I would have done the same thing.
Funnily
man.
enough, Smo, of all people, was the last knight of Gwyn to remain at his post. We know this for, after defeating Aldrich, we can purchase his armor,
Right.
which implies that Smo, the cannibal, may well have been cannibalized himself. An ironic twist of fate
That's
that
crazy.
Ornstein was lucky to avoid.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly where or for how long Ornstein set off in search of his Nameless King. But if one attempted to trace his path, one would find evidence
No way.
of the influence that
In
these
Dark
two
Souls
men
2?
may well have left upon the world. In Ferossa, for example, we witness an order of Lion Knights with armor blessed by a certain war god. Even more curiously, the figure depicted on their helmet stands his own against a
Right.
dragon. In the drowned ruins of Hade, there's a being who aspires
Oh my God,
to
of
the
course.
great legacy of the old dragon
Totally
slayer.
forgot
So
about
is this Ornstein himself?
That's too
Probably
funny, man.
not. Though, how
That was
curious
great
is it
seeing
that
him
a man
again.
inspired by a dragon slayer would be allied with the dragons that
Right.
are right outside his gate. The world was changing, and in truth, those who aspire to conquer dragons overwhelmingly end up with them as their allies.
Wait, but
Look
sorry, isn't Dark Souls 2 in the past though? Now I got more questions. No, it's not in the past. It's in a distant land. Damn, I have horrible memory.
Our Nameless King, who was born for a war against them, only to ally with the vestiges of their race. Look to Vendrick, who inherited Gwyn's legacy, yet aspired to recreate their
Okay,
power.
never mind. It's not in the past.
Look to the
Distant
kingdom
land.
of
That's what it
Lothric,
was.
whose knights were originally hunters of dragons, yet they ended up taming them and fighting at their side. Look at Prince Rickard, who fought in a stronghold filled with serpents and ended up being summoned as their champion at Archdragon Peak. Look to Havel, who adopted a spine of stone and a dragon's tooth only to uphold a sacred oath with their Nameless King. And
Wow.
finally, look to Ornstein, the Dragon Slayer, who, laden with duties and oaths, decided that the only one that would matter was his pledge to Gwyn's exiled son. Damn. And so it was that the way of the dragon led him to the Nameless King's stronghold. In the years after his exile, the Nameless King had tamed a storm drake, upon which he had led a lifetime of battle. Eventually, he settled here, upon Archdragon Peak. This, it appears, was a place where dragons and their kin
So
could
beautiful.
worship and live in peace. It was only a matter of time, after all, until Gwyn's Age of Fire would burn down to ash, and dragons, as we know, have both time and patience in abundance. Alas, an unkindled would eventually find his way here to Archdragon Peak, driven by this unstoppable desire to claim the strength of a war god, and to claim the strength of his ancient companions, so that Gwyn's Age of Fire could finally be brought to an end.
Wow.
For war is supposed to be waged for what we believe in, not to erase our opposition from existence.
That's deep. Damn. Oh, another banger. Oh, another banger, dude. I don't want these to end. I would be okay. I mean, honestly, he doesn't need more time. 10 minutes is more than enough to jam pack all this information. It's just it's written so well, man. How old is VaatiVidya? Does anyone know? How do you acquire this wisdom? Alrighty, gang. So now we have Yhorm, the Lonely Ruler, Peace Sully, Patches, the Grand Betrayal, and Hawkwood the Deserter. Still got plenty more to go, man. If you're enjoying this so far, consider dropping a like. It'd be much appreciated. This one I'm very intrigued about, Yhorm, the Lonely Ruler, because, you know, it's got the Onion Man in it. There's this whole mystery about someone that he lost that was mentioned in the last Lauren Chill episode, and maybe we'll get an explanation as to who that one is. And also, his story is just really cool overall. The fact that he gave his people the weapon that would destroy him, and then gave the other one to the Onion Man. Like, he's just a really cool dude, man. So I'm excited to jump into this one.
Rarely do the giants of Dark Souls have happy fates. In the Age of the Gods, they had it best. Perhaps because one of their own was a powerful knight of Gwyn. Yet, even then, he suffered at the hands of former humans who packed his helm with tree resin and fooled him into thinking he was blind. The other giants of this age were put to use as basic laborers. Their wits made them unfit for much else, except in rare occasions. In Drangleic, a distant race of giants invade the kingdom of the humans to take back that which was stolen. I love
these memories in Dark Souls 2.
It ends in bloodshed, not to mention the giants taken for experimentation, their very souls becoming displaced from their bodies.
Ugh.
And finally, Lothric, where their abuse hits new heights, imprisoned, forced to wallow in the muck of the cathedral, slaughtered, or feigning death. Only one rose above the rest, and even ruled over humans.
The coolest looking one.
Yhorm is the descendant of an ancient conqueror, a conqueror who once subdued the people of the profaned capital. And in time, Yhorm was asked by these very same people to lead them. He would come to accept this role, and he served as both their weighty blade and their stone-hard shield. And you would think that this transfer of power would earn him the people's respect and gratitude, but it didn't. Instead, those who spoke of Yhorm as Lord were quite insincere. Perhaps this is because of Yhorm's heritage. We don't know who the conqueror before Yhorm was, and he might not even be featured in-game. Our two biggest clues, however, are Yhorm's size and the fact that the people of the capital suddenly found themselves without a ruler or protector and needed to ask for one. And in my opinion, Wolnir, the enormous conqueror of Karthus who suddenly fell to the abyss, fits this criteria, or at least is a good example of it. Wolnir once brought the rightful lords of the world to their knees and ground their crowns to dust. However, he went on to fall to the abyss, presumably leaving many kingdoms without a ruler, and Wolnir wasn't exactly known for sharing his power with others. So at the very least, it was probably an absence of rule like this that led the people of the capital to ask for a powerful protector instead of simply being conquered all over again.
Makes sense.
So it fits that they would ask Yhorm. Yet it also fits that they would feel some shame for having to ask him. Their fate would be in the hands of the conqueror's descendant, and not just that, but in the hands of a giant, no less. Simpletons and dullards with very few notable exceptions. So Yhorm fought hard to prove himself as Lord, risking everything for his people.
He had good intentions,
man. Against the kingdom's enemies he fought unflinchingly, great machete in one hand and great shield in the other. Yet still, his people's shame and prejudice must have manifested as bitterness.
Haters,
distrust.
Man. Haters.
For in another.
Also, sorry, I just gotta point out, but the legs on the on that throne are legs.
Manifested
Am I tripping?
As bitterness,
like the legs on the sides there, those are feet at the bottom, right? Got 8 toes or something. Am I seeing that correctly? Looks like a leg, no? 2 legs. There's like a lion patch on the knee there. I don't know. That might be a stretch, but
for in another brave gesture, Yhorm gave his people the means to defeat him.
Literally had it in front of him.
A storm ruler.
Crazy.
An ancient sword also known as Giant Slayer, capable of bringing giants to their knees from the strength of storm held within it. Yhorm carried 2 of these, and now only 1 remained in his possession. At some point during the wars, Yhorm lost the one he wished to protect.
Okay, who was
It's
it?
not clear who this is,
Classic.
whether they were a friend or a partner, nor how they died, but this loss became the legacy of his later years. It was an event so significant he threw away his great shield, for he was no longer interested in self-preservation or the protection of others.
That's symbolic.
In the place of his shield, Yhorm added a left-handed notch to his machete, enabling the smashing technique of a berserker with nothing left to lose.
That's awesome.
In time, his enemies were crushed, and the only threat to the capital was from within. A group of women, relatives of some oracle from a bygone age, suddenly triggered a curse subsisting deep within them. They all distorted into this same monstrosity, an enormous hand with calcified protrusions and a hole swirling deep within the palm.
Disgusting.
Despite all of this, they went on living without any cares, and from that day forward, the profaned flame was born within the capital. The profaned flame. It came to define the capital, and it was defined by 3 rules. 1. It is said to be inextinguishable. 2. It is able to swallow the hearts of those it touches, inspiring cruelty and torture. And 3. The darkness of the abyss can be seen within it.
Wow.
With nothing left to lose, and a monumental soul to burn, Yhorm decided to link the fire. With this act, he would put the profaned flame to rest, enable a new age of fire, and prove his detractors wrong. Show them all they were wrong about him. So, just as he gave one storm ruler to those who doubted him, he gave the other to one that he trusted, along with a promise that Sigurd, this bumbling, kind-hearted knight of Katarina, would slay his old friend if he ever faltered in his
Damn,
duty.
dude.
And so the fire was linked, and Yhorm failed in all the ways that they said he would. In this place, we get an unprecedented look into the linking of the fire. When it happened, items say, a rush of flame fell from the sky and incinerated not only Yhorm, but all the residents of the capital. So the question we're left asking is, was this normal? Or was Yhorm's soul somehow not enough? Or were giants not supposed to link the fire? For all his hard work protecting these people, they all went up in flames, and I assume his detractors would have felt validated in doubting Yhorm if they weren't all burnt to a crisp. Ages pass, bolstered in part by Yhorm's sacrifice. But the fire inevitably fades, and Yhorm is brought back from the dead to link the fire once more. There must be something about a second chance at life that causes a lord to fear death. For, like the other 2 lords who rose alongside him, Yhorm flees his duty and settles in the ruined capital he once called home. He takes his old throne, which is now surrounded by the melted corpses of those who once doubted him, and he waits. Truly alone this time, even more so than he was in life.
Moment has almost come. I just need a bit more time.
Sigurd, with a little help from you, of course, finds the courage to meet his old friend.
Wow.
Yhorm, old friend. I, Sigurd of the Knights of Katarina, have come to uphold my promise.
Wow. And he still puts up a fight.
Let the sun shine upon this Lord of Cinder.
I feel bad for killing him, though. It's like that with every single one of these Prepare to Cries, man. You just feel bad for killing killing the bosses.
I am in your debt once again. My thanks. I could have not kept my promise without you. Now, for a final toast.
Ugh. Long may the sun shine.
To your valor, and my old friend Yhorm. Long may the sun shine.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me.
Well, I'm going to have myself a little nap.
Yeah, it's just a
The
nap.
only thing to do, really, after a nice toast.
Yeah, just a nap.
You are a true friend. Best of luck with your duty.
After your final toast, and as you leave the arena, Sigurd's soul floats towards you.
What the fuck? I didn't
Did he
see
die
that.
from wounds that he sustained during the fight? It's impossible, you'd think, considering that Siegbrow has healing properties. No. His quest is complete, his oath is fulfilled, so Sigurd ends his life.
What?
For all that remained was that final toast.
Shut
and
up.
To wish you luck with your duty.
Shut up.
In
I
the
refuse
end,
to believe that.
All that came from the profaned capital were the cinders of a lord, fit only to surrender its fire for your ambition. So knowing all of this and all of what happened, what do you make of it? Oh, and did I forget to mention? The profaned flame burns on, exempt from the tragedy and waiting for more hearts to corrupt. And somewhere, a young sorcerer escapes a painting.
Oh, I think that might be next, guys. Ooh, that was a cool teaser. Good thing we don't have to wait. That one got me. That one got me big time. After we defeated Yhorm, I got teleported to the dancer fight. And then, out of fear that he was just gonna leave, the Onion Man, I went back to the boss room like right away, and that's where he found his armor. To which I just thought, you know, he took a nap and then he got naked and ran away. You know, that was it. But no, apparently he took his own life, which is very, very sad, but also, you know, very symbolic of Dark Souls, and you know, he fulfilled his duty. That's all he needed to do. So alrighty guys, next up we got P. Sully, the wielder of the blue and purple sword. One of you guys actually left a comment in the last Lauren Chill video that I should do a colorblind test to finally put it to rest as a video, so maybe we'll do that in the future. But anyways, here we go.
The tyrant, Sulyvahn, was only a young sorcerer when he left the painting.
The painting?
Ariandel is another world.
Interesting.
A sanctuary that pulls forlorn beings from the outside and gives them a home. They find comfort in the sameness, and they find comfort in the rot. But imagine growing up in a place like this, surrounded by beings that have lost everything in the outside world. Sulyvahn alone had lost nothing, so, ironically, in this place of belonging, he did not belong.
Huh.
So it's no surprise that his envy inspired terrible ambition. For, as Sulyvahn would prove, there's a lot to fear from a man with nothing to lose.
That's true.
So, a young sorcerer with spells of frost, he left and never returned.
Where have you gone, sweet child? It's cold outside, so awfully cold.
Is that the tree talking?
Where have you run off to?
I don't think we encountered a
outside.
talking tree.
Home.
We just killed them all.
Far below a dark moon lies Anor Londo, city of the gods. Further still, Irithyll, nestled in the Boreal Valley. And yet, even further below, past the dungeon cells of Irithyll, is the ruins of a once proud capital. The only human kingdom to have ever been ruled by a giant, actually. But his story doesn't matter, for he left nothing of worth behind, except perhaps this.
The profaned
flame.
Oh.
Profane, for it defies the law of fire and never goes out. Profane, for it has the abyss hidden within it. And profane, for it corrupts the hearts of men, offering power, but inspiring evil. Sulyvahn, items say, stumbled upon this place when he was yet a young sorcerer.
Right.
It's not uncommon to see sorcerers out on distant journeys of discovery, and I'd bet that when he left the capital, he was not the same man. For from here on out, a burning ambition is said to have taken root within him, and considering the nature of this flame, I think we can take that quite literally. So with a greatsword, and perhaps a heart profaned by the flame, he left, his sights set on Irithyll, for to Sulyvahn's dismay, this rotting world was just like the one he had left.
Damn.
At this point in our story, Anor Londo was still a city of the old gods, one of the most resilient cities in the world, for it and the old royalty who resided there remained largely unchanged throughout multiple links of fire. It was home to the children of Gwyn himself, Sister Guinevere with her Silver Knights, her brother Gwyndolin, captain of the Dark Moon Knights, and his half-sister Yorshka, the crossbreed. Power emanated from the cathedral, which was patrolled by the Silver Knights and guarded by Ornstein and Smo, two famous knights of Gwyn. The time would come, however, when Ornstein left the cathedral in search of Gwyn's firstborn child,
that's when
making Smo the last knight to remain at his post.
So that's when P-Sully decided to go in?
There are also deacons of the Way of White, which have a sect here in Irithyll, headed by Archdeacon MacDonald. Far away, though, many more of this order toil in the Cathedral of the Deep, devoted to maintaining the Age of Fire that Gwyn began. Here, great and terrible beings are put to their final rest. And just now, in our story, a powerful saint named Aldrich has just been sacrificed to the first flame, becoming a Lord of Cinder. Back in Irithyll also, the Order of the Dark Moon Knights, led by the Dark Sun Gwyndolin, swear their oaths. The Blue Phantoms are bound to become a shadow of Father Gwyn and a shadow of Sister Guinevere, hunting down any who would threaten the champions who link the fire.
Wow.
And it was this order, the Dark Moon Knights, that the sorcerer Sulyvahn saw fit to infiltrate.
Right.
And we know this because he was presented with the Great Sword of Judgment, a ceremonial sword representing the judgment of the moon. It glows like the blue of the dark moon, but...
How on earth is that blue? I will die on this hill, man. That shit is purple. I digress.
Much deeper. If you were to look more closely at this blade, then you would realize that its magic is far closer to sorcery than any existing lunar power. For Sulyvahn did not draw his power from faith like the other knights did, but he drew it instead from sorcery, which is an art that is despised by the old royalty. And perhaps that's for good reason, for sorcery would ultimately be the downfall of the Way of White, the Dark Moon Knights, and the gods alike. When the old world is rotten, you burn it away. And so, the pontiff's usurpation of Anor Londo began with Gwyndolin.
Wow.
The Dark Moon Knights were once led by my elder brother, the Dark Sun Gwyndolin. But he was stricken by illness, and leadership of the Knights fell to me. Then Sulyvahn wrongfully proclaimed himself pontiff, and took me prisoner. Oh, where could my dear brother be?
Yorshka, the last remaining knightess of the Dark Moon Order, mentions that it all began when her brother fell ill. She doesn't blame his illness on Sulyvahn, but you and I both know that either he or his subordinates weren't above using poison. For it was not only the Dark Moon Knights affected by Sulyvahn's influence. The holy deacons also were befouled from within. Archdeacon MacDonald, a prominent member of their order who resides in Irithyll, committed a grave trespass, he began to channel his faith for sorcery, transforming symbols of ecclesiastic authority into catalysts of deep soul sorceries. Wow. For MacDonald, these stagnating souls and the magic derived from them represented the glorious bedrock of this world. Their order was intended to deal with the great and terrible beings that came to them, but inevitably they were affected by the terrors that came into the cathedral. This treason was not kept within Irithyll. No, MacDonald also imparted deep soul sorceries to Archdeacon Royce and his deacons, who all resided in the cathedral, and he added new dark pages to their Tome of Miracles, literally corrupting his order against the very flame that they had sworn to protect.
Damn.
He was undoubtedly collaborating with the sorcerer Sulyvahn, who himself had his new knights infected and empowered by the deep. Dark magics erupt from their throats, drawn towards life, and their very weapons became eaten away by the tiny, biting insects that feed upon those close to the deep. This force in Irithyll, wielding the profaned flame, gnawed at by the deep, headed by the archdeacons and the pontiff, became an evil that pushed the entire royal family out of their ancient home. However, some residents clearly escaped all of this trauma, because later, far away in a city named Lothric, it is said that there is another queen revered as a goddess of fertility and bounty, just like Guinevere once was. But back in Anor Londo, now with Pontiff Sulyvahn fully in control, the true atrocities could begin. Many in Irithyll were enslaved, and as you can see, were pushed forward as fodder by the Pontiff's fire witches. The less fortunate were turned into beasts, for it is said that men who peer into the black eyes of Sulyvahn are transformed. Look closely at the faces of the dogs, at the hair of the spider women, at these ribcage beasts that prey when they're defenseless. Sulyvahn forced out the beasthood within men, especially in those who would become his Outrider Knights. The most notable of the Outrider Knights was the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Her Aurora Veil is actually an artifact of the old gods, permitted only to be worn by direct descendants of the old royal family. And before she was controlled by Sulyvahn, the dancer was likely a daughter of Guinevere, as she has a fragment of her mother's soul. However, she was clearly left behind as the rest of her family escaped to Lothric.
Damn.
When captured, the pontiff ordered her to serve first as a dancer, perhaps to shame her or entertain him. Then he made her an Outrider Knight, giving her a ring of his right eye that he knew would transform her. She became an enchanting beast of death, her armor fusing with her own hide. Never far from the fleeting dancer was Vort, the Outrider Knight who received the pontiff's left eye ring. Clearly, there was something between them, some bond shared, for they would never return to Irithyll, but like all the Outrider Knights, their spirits can sometimes be seen roaming the old city, together.
Wow.
In total, 5 Outrider Knights were dispatched to Lothric, one guarding the Road of Sacrifices, the second in the basement of Lothric Castle.
Oh shit, true.
The third skulking in the Grand Archives, and the 2 most unique knights, Vort and the Dancer, guard the main exit and entrance to Lothric Castle itself. Their placement is no coincidence.
No.
Sulyvahn may be back in Irithyll, but he knows that the last vestiges of the royal family have a presence in Lothric, and his eyes are all over their failing kingdom, watching as the royal family desperately struggles to produce an heir to the linking of the fire, waiting as he knows that when they fail, Aldrich will be raised once more as a Lord of Cinder, and who do you think he'll be indebted to when he rises from his grave?
Peace, Ollie.
To this end, Sulyvahn protected the gate to Irithyll with an old trick from the Painted World. A magical barrier was erected, repelling everything and everyone except those with a message from a small doll. Wherever you go, it says, the moon still sets in Irithyll. Wherever you may be, Irithyll is your home. Sulyvahn, or the deacons, placed one of these dolls in Aldrich's coffin and waited. And eventually, of course, he came, for where else would he go? Aldrich had spent a long time ruminating on the fading of the fire. For him, it inspired prophetic visions of a new future, an age not of fire, but of deep seas. He knew the path to this world would be arduous, but he had no fear, for he would become not a mere devourer of men, but a devourer of gods. And so, imagine his pleasure when he found one waiting for him in his new cathedral.
So fucked up.
Gwyndolin, son of Gwyn, and former captain of the Dark Moon Knights.
If only he were here, I would be most pleased for ye both to meet.
Aww.
As most assuredly would he.
But Aldrich wasn't the only being resurrected. You put the pontiff's achievements to shame, rolling over him with the help of either Blackhand Gotthard for Lothric,
Gotthard.
the Pale Shade for Londor, or Anri for Horace.
Wow.
The pontiff made many enemies, and they were his downfall in the end.
Damn.
Here you have a man who stopped at nothing to change the world. He mastered sorceries of frost, miracles of the moon. He partnered with a kingdom-ending flame and took advantage of the deep. He used all of this, plus social and political manipulation, to usurp an age-old kingdom, rising within the ranks of its knights, twisting its deacons to feed a god to a lord of cinder and supplant the Age of Fire. The tyrant Sulyvahn tore apart many bonds, but was undone himself by a mere unkindled, who proves that no champion is more powerful than the fire-linking curse. So if this man can't change the world, then what hope do we have?
God damn. God damn. Gosh darn, dude. Wow. Okay. That felt like 3 minutes. I apologize if I didn't say a single thing. We were just watching it together, man. This is a watch party. Oh my god, dude. P. Sully would make for a iconic, timeless villain in like a set of movies. You know, like he has like that degree of like backstory and just pure evilness. I mean, I guess we don't need a movie. We got Dark Souls 3, but imagine the scale of like just seeing a character like him just like come to power and, you know, leave his home and just everything that happened to him and everything that he did to all those people. Like, I actually remember a comment. Some of you guys told me when we first started the playthrough, or no, not when we first started, but after we defeated P. Sully, that apparently he was intended to be the final boss of Dark Souls 3, like the the big bad boss of the entire game. And I gotta say, it makes sense. Like it would have made sense. I love the game as it is, but it would have been really interesting to see how they would have kind of fleshed that out. This is a very well written character, and I love him even more as a boss now. This one might be the only one that I don't feel bad for killing. All right, guys. Up next, we're going to be doing the Grand Betrayal happening right now. Let's go.
Violet Shrine is a rather terrible place when you think about it. Sure, the Firekeeper will always be there for you, but what about when you're not there for her? She's disposable, forgotten, just like Champion Gundyr who's stranded in another dimension, or like the Handmaiden, chained to this fate for what must feel like an eternity.
Remember well, I am undead, bound forever by the shrine's curse.
What do they eat?
As the fire is linked over and over, kingdoms change, and so too does the shrine. In this world, as we know, the shrine is a literal graveyard of ash, quite befitting of an exhausted world.
Right.
Though one constant through it all is the suffering of the firekeepers. These women aren't as selfless as you might think. No, they're prisoners, just like you, and they fight for the linking of the fire, for with the linking of the fire comes rest.
Finally, the curse of the undead will be lifted, and I can die human. Long have I awaited one such as you. One who can set me free.
They want what's best for them.
Link the fire.
Yeah.
For the Lords of Cinder.
True, they're not as selfless
For the
as
Ashen
you'd think.
prisoners. For all those held to preserve the fire. Link the first flame.
Though as we've come to learn, this rest is temporary, and the curse never was lifted. And yet, the legend of the linking of the fire continues to infect the minds of many. Undead are shepherded towards the first flame, and the kingdoms of the gods are always designed to enable their sacrifice in some way. Have you ever noticed that the incinerating kiln is never too far from the kingdom of men? Firelink Shrine is a crumbled peak of New Londo.
Yeah.
The Throne of Want sits below Drangleic Castle, and in Lothric, hidden behind the King's Garden, along a trail of ash and untended graves, is the current iteration of Firelink Shrine, and what must be the 1000th Firekeeper, capable of sending us forward to be face to face with Cinder itself.
Surrender your fires to the true heir. Let him grant death to the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
Those that fail to become Cinder are cremated all the same, their ashes scattered in the untended graves by the soul of Cinder. Those that succeed become Lords of Cinder, but it says a lot about the future that they fight for if our lords have refused to fight for it a second time. And so, the Grand Betrayal was conceived. This betrayal of the flame was not a novel concept by any means, but perhaps it was still a necessary one, considering it led to the link of fire being threatened and the bell tolling for the unkindled. According to his cinders, the Prince Lothric was destined to be a Lord of Cinder and was cherished by the royal family, though, ironically, he was born ill,
The story is so
shriveled
sad.
and frail, unable even to wield the platinum sword that was his birthright. Conversely, Lothric's older brother, Lorien, was a great champion of the realm. While his younger brother's sword would never be wielded, his was scorched black by the flame of the demon prince, which he had slain.
I think it looks way cooler than the other one.
The great tragedy that's referenced so often in their lore is surely that while Prince Lothric was chosen to be a Lord of Cinder, Prince Lorien was the one suited for it. And so, Lorien must have had a great love for his brother, for he embraced Lothric's curse, merging their two souls.
Damn.
Tragically, this left Lorien mute and crippled, yet it is said that Lorien indeed wished it so all the same.
Wow.
There's this great mention of the grief of the twin princes, for once they came together, they rejected everything that had made this sacrifice necessary. So instead of linking the flame, they settled in their throne room and simply watched the fire fade from a distance, and with their strength combined, fought off any who would seek their cinders.
Ill-starred are they who take the throne. I shall not stand among them. The fire-linking curse, the legacy of lords, let it all fade into nothing. Mark my words, Ashen One. You remain among the accursed.
If we were to join them in their rest, this is the fate that the princes would have us live, a darkened shrine. Most likely their shrine is hidden behind the chambers of the consumed king. And items tell us that if a place is devoid of light, so too will it be devoid of time. Perhaps this explains away the terrible convolution within this place, justifying how those in the future shrine can be pulled to this realm like the Swordmaster, justifying how we physically walk here from present-day Lothric and accounting for the dead Firekeeper who is from the past and tucked away. But of all the things here, from past, present, or future, she is the most consequential, for she is the one that's holding the eyes that enable the Firekeeper to betray the flame.
Right.
Ah, found her, did we? And the black eyes that shimmer within, I see. 'Tis as if it were but yesterday. We did all we could to spare her from them.
Oh.
Much has happened since. Mayhap I should apprise thee of what the thin light of these eyes might reveal to the eyeless Firekeeper. Scenes of betrayal. Things never intended for her ken. Visions of this age's end.
The eyes are said to have belonged to the first Firekeeper, and of all the would-be Lords of Cinder, it makes the most sense for Prince Lothric to have had access to such an heirloom.
Right.
He is, after all, the descendant of old royalty, inheritor of the throne, and it seems that he and Lorien coaxed their Firekeeper to stifle the flame back in their age, much like we can with the eyes in our possession. Now ask yourself, how does Ludleth know about any of this? Ludleth refers to the eyes and the woman they're planted upon in the past tense. It follows that somehow he linked the flame after the princes refused to.
Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the Lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corpse. This sad cadaver.
There's something wrong in this dialogue. Listen to how guilty and how defensive he sounds. A true Lord of Cinder would have no need to constantly reaffirm his or her legitimacy. And we get closer to the truth on this by listening to him as he sleeps, as he dreams about the nightmarish rite of linking the fire.
What?
Ah, it cinches to the bone. It hurts. Please, help me. Be done with me.
How do you get this dialogue?
God, no. I cannot bear it. It burns. Help me.
Oh shit, dude.
I am a lord. A wee flame, belike. But I shoulder the world. Forgive me. I am not to blame. I'm not.
From his half-burnt corpse to the guilt that we hear, it seems most likely that Ludleth partially linked the flame. Perhaps it's because of him that there's a light in this world at all, that the bell was able to toll for help. Truly though, this story is one that I can't possibly claim to have all the answers to. For example, was it possible for weak little Ludleth to link the fire because the twin princes had already defeated the Soul of Cinder? If Ludleth could link it, why couldn't Champion Gundyr? Who was the first Firekeeper?
Yeah.
Why are there Black Knights here? And why is this place still so dangerous to our Unkindled? Perhaps this place was laid with defenders for a reason? For of all the shrines, this one seems the most geared towards stopping anyone who would dare rise and somehow link the fire. It's difficult, and perhaps pointless to come through here. Champion Gundyr did arrive, only to find the coiled sword of the shrine broken in advance, and the Firekeeper gone. Grave wardens patrol the graves, are devoted to hemorrhaging any reanimating corpses, and the only Firekeeper that patrols the grounds is a scholar. The daughter of Crystal is drawn to any embers that would walk through this shrine. And of all the things that don't make sense in this story, it does make a lot of sense that there would be a scholar here. For the first of the scholars, as you may recall, is said to have doubted the linking of the fire, and was also a private mentor to the royal prince. At the highest peaks of Lothric Castle are the Grand Archives, home to the scholars. They're the faction with a close relationship to the previous King Osiris, who went mad studying their store of knowledge, and this close relationship between the crown and the scholars has clearly carried over to the new, young prince, Lothric. But who was the first scholar? There are many candidates, but many have theorized that it was Uldir.
I was just going to say.
While all the evidence behind it being Uldir is circumstantial, the rise of the Unkindled is certainly something Uldir would have fought for.
Yeah.
A destiny beyond the scope of light, beyond the reach of dark, a painted world inhabited by ash, a future born of this world but free of its curses. In no small way, the princes are responsible for the rise of ash, an unintended consequence of their Grand Betrayal. Think you can kill me in PvP?
Nope. Dude, that one left me with like more questions than anything. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That one was a real doozy on the brain. I didn't even have anything to say. I just kind of understood the beginning part. Obviously with the firekeepers, not being selfless. I mean, I guess we kind of understood the eye situation. I don't know how he got that dialogue of Ludleth while he was sleeping. I never got that. Current situation between these two is incredible. I mean, brother goals. That one did kind of leave me in a little bit of a pickle here, guys. But we do have two more. We have Hawkwood the Deserter, which I did explain in one of the episodes that I actually recorded the ending of his questline, which we are about to see anyways, but I lost the footage. So, but I ended up, getting that item from Anri, killing him in the Abyss Watcher's boss room, and then I got a little bit of dialogue, so we're gonna watch that one, and then we're gonna finish it off with Patches the Unbreakable. I think it's only fit that we do that one last.
When a dead man rises, how does he come to bear with his unnatural existence? For every story deserves an ending, and without one, what is there to treasure? So,
deep.
He looks for purpose in his undeath, a notoriously difficult task, but...
Even accursed undead want to believe they're special, it seems.
First, he joins a legion, united in their resolve, a pack of wolves, sworn to do battle with the dark wherever it arises. The same dark, they say, that is responsible for the curse of the undead, battling against horrors and monsters like heroes past, battling themselves, for that is where the true corruption lies. Until one day, the man turns coat and leaves, unable to bear the burden. For even in undeath, Hawkwood feared his mortality. He clutched a shield close to his chest, unlike his brothers and sisters who fought with a blade designed to catch and deflect mortal strikes.
Look at this shot, dude. This has got to be one of the best armors in the game. Like just fashion speaking. It's just, it's so beautiful. You guys know I love capes, so maybe I'm biased, but the hat is also kind of Bloodborne-like, which I love.
The craven, the crestfallen. However, by nature of definition, it is the coward who is capable of the highest heroism, for his obstacles are the greatest of all.
Are you the next monarch, or merely a pawn of fate?
He believed that he could still be a hero, a champion to banish the dark with the light of the first flame, someone worthy of a throne, a place in this world that is engraved with his name, Hawkwood, an undead worthy of fire.
Wow.
But again, he failed, a nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder, and so he becomes ash. When a dead man rises, he becomes his failure, forced to know that his best was not nearly enough.
Another one roused.
Makes sense why he's so why he has so much attitude, you know?
We unkindled are worthless.
He's very human.
Tyrant gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we are talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots. Don't you think?
Each of them a man who actually became a fire-linking king.
Not for virtue, but for might. Such as a lord, I suppose. But here I ask, do we have a sodding chance?
There's always a chance. Yes.
How could ashen failures possibly hope to convince 4 lords to listen to them? Well, if the lords will not return to their thrones themselves, let them return as cinders.
You oft the lords of cinder, the undead legion. So that's how they're delivered to their thrones. I pity the sorry souls. Is that really lordship's last reward?
It finally hit him, the absurdity of it all.
The poor wretched souls. Be they lord or legend, the curse shows no mercy. What a sham.
And if kings could not escape their fate, well then they were no lesser than he. So what did he have to fear? Nothing.
I'm a deserter, I know, but I've still plenty of fight in me.
First, he followed the wolf. Then, he was scarred by fire. Finally, he finds the courage to pursue another calling. The calling of those who seek to exist outside of the cycle. For to be alive is to be vulnerable, and even the fiery gods are no exception to that rule. No, the Apostles of the Dragon seek another plane of existence, one which transcends life, and we possess one of their relics.
Oh, you've returned. I was hoping to see you.
Oh my god.
That crestfallen ass Hawkwood, he handed me this.
Right.
He's changed a great deal since he left this place. Graven of face, he asked me to give it ye.
It was a challenge. This time, he fights for something else completely, without a shield, to protect his own self.
That's cool.
Ah, there you are. Well, I've decided to stop running from my fate. Loathe me all you like. I shall take what makes you dragon. This shall be no petty theft. As the true dragon, I shall take what is rightfully mine.
Wow.
I should have known. Enough, you fool! Oh, be as bloody mad as you like. Trapped within your wretched cast.
Damn, dude. I literally killed him in 3 hits. Like, this is... It was not this cinematic.
More dragon than I. Deserter could hope for no better place to die.
Wow.
His name was Hawkwood, the last remaining warrior of the Undead Legion.
What the fuck?
This video is sponsored by me.
How does... Oh, I got merch coming out soon, too. For the peeps that stay till the end, man. I'm joking. No, I'm not. Anyways, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, so, wow. VaatiVidya does it again. Just, when I fought him, I wasn't even upset that I lost the footage because it was so, like, underwhelming. Like, I got the item, I put the pieces together that we should go there, defeated him, and, you know, it was just like a normal fight. It wasn't anything special. It lasted maybe a minute, and, that was that, and I didn't think about it. But this is why we have Lore and Chill, guys. This is why we do these. And the more I watch VaatiVidya, and I've probably seen upwards to close to like 20 of his videos by now, I would say, maybe 15. The more I watch, the more respect I gain for this guy. It's not only his editing, but it's his writing and the way he tells the stories. He's a storyteller. He's got a gift, man. He makes you care for things that, you know, in the moment don't seem that important, but what a blast, dude. All right, guys. Well, we're finishing it off with the man himself, Patches the Unbreakable. I'm sure he's going to touch on Lap as well, which I'm very interested to hear kind of the full circle around everything. But man, this has been incredible. Dark Souls 3 lore is something else, man. And I know there are some videos that kind of have all 3 of them collected, like the Dark Souls lore as a whole, which would be really, really cool to watch someday as well. So let me know if you'd like to see that. And yeah, without further ado, guys, Patches the Unbreakable.
Damn. Stop it.
There he is.
Unbreakable.
Sitting like an idiot. God, shut up.
The hyena. The spider.
Spoilers.
The trustworthy. The unbreakable. The fact he makes it to the end of the world.
Sorry, I'm guessing that's him in Demon Souls? Is he in Sekiro as well? That'd be kind of funny. Wait, let me see those again.
The trustworthy.
Hold up.
Breakable.
Patches. The hyena.
Yeah, it's gotta be Demon Souls.
The spider. The trustworthy. The unbreakable. The fact he makes it to the end of the world, never truly hollowing, is nothing short of incredible.
Shit, that is true.
For we've come across countless undead who lost their humanity in pursuit of a purpose, yet long after they're gone, Patches remains. Any undead who makes it to the end of the world is certainly worthy of a second glance, for surely Patches isn't as straightforward as he seems, though you'd be forgiven for thinking otherwise.
There's a fine stash of treasure right down that hole.
I'll strip your corpse clean.
Wait now. You didn't actually fall down then. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not above it all, I swear. We're on the same side. I'm Trusty Patches, the one and only.
Patches is clearly in love with tricking everyone for profit, but for a man who allegedly reviles the greed of men and claims to be devoid of all worldly wants, is the profit truly what drives him in this endless task?
Probably not.
I think his greed is a front, a facade designed to hide his true purpose, which is to punish the greed and the want of others.
Every age, it seems, is tainted by the greed of men. Rubbish to one such as I, devoid of all worldly wants.
Time and time again, we're lured by our greed, eventually finding a somewhat loyal friend in Patches after our punishment is delivered.
Yeah.
But across all these worlds, there is one man that Patches truly befriends.
Greirat.
And this friendship gives us a rare insight into what he values. This friendship is with Greirat.
Ah, I see you've met Greirat. The slinking rodent. But he did me a good turn back in Lothric Dungeon. Doubtless I should do something about that little dead. Well, maybe not. Well, I can hardly believe he's still standing.
Greirat the Thief once fancied himself a martyr for the poor, the soul's version of Robin Hood, if you like.
Oh.
It was his concern for others that led him to climb the Great Wall to Lothric.
Makes sense that he would befriend him.
Patches from the Lothric dungeon before being locked away in a cell of his own, awaiting your rescue.
I don't want to sit around and die a petty rat. And I consider myself your friend.
Indebted to you, and with all those he loves dead, Greirat dedicates himself fully to your cause, even embarking upon suicidal thieving runs through the most dangerous territories. It's these actions that lead Patches to his uncharacteristic concern.
Hey, what happened to Greirat anyhow? I haven't seen him at all lately.
I thought he had killed him,
and
he was just playing with us.
Be sure to tell me.
That's where my head's at.
I need to stock up, and if he's gone and croaked, he'll have left a gold mine. What? Gone all the way to Irithyll, has he? There can't be much left of that frozen sprawl. The old rat. He's gone off the deep end this time.
He makes an effort to hide his affection for this man, though his actions betray that he cares. For, dressed once again in the armor of the Onion Knight, to hide his identity, it's Patches, not Sigurd, that actually rescues Greirat in Irithyll.
I might have died if it wasn't for that peculiar Onion Knight.
So of all the men to save, why Greirat? Well, Greirat is much like Patches. You can see what they have in common. They're both petty thieves, yet Greirat is one who acts without concern for himself. He doesn't steal out of greed, so Patches respects him.
Off to Lothric, the castle of no return. That old thief's lost it if he thinks he has a chance in there. It's not like he's new to this game. What's got into him?
Yet Patches also does outlive him. The curse of life is the curse of want, after all, and if we view greed as the reason that many hollow and die, then it makes sense that Patches is the one perfectly suited to resist the curse, by resisting want and greed entirely. For he thrives upon punishing others for their greed. So, with no want, and grounded by his desire to punish others for their want, and trick them and trap them, Patches makes it to the end of the world. But slowly, the world is ending, and soon there's no one left to lure into his traps. There's no one else to trick with their own greed. So it seems that Patches too wavers in his duty, for here, at World's End, even he loses himself.
Damn.
Which gives us a glimpse of the good heart that he used to have before the world made him what he was.
I'm a hollow. Yes. I try to play it off, but I haven't a clue about my past, who I was, or what I lived for. Not even my own blessed name. You remember that treasure? Well, I fetched it for you. Here, go ahead. It's yours. Maybe it'll help you with that solemn duty of yours. I'm off in search of the Purging Monument. Once I find it, everything will come back to me. Who I was, what I lived for, what my name was, and what terrible grudges I held. I don't know. just have this feeling that that's the kind of man I was.
The Purging Monument has the power to purge the undead curse and restore one's humanity. Ironically, only by displaying humanity can it be found.
Right.
What did I come here in search of? Damn. Stop it. I'm unbreakable. Unbreakable. Ah, please, someone tell me. Who am I? Why am I here?
With your help, Lap can find the Purging Monument, and surely Lap is to be trusted.
Are you certain of that? No. Sorry, I know you'd never lie to me. Thank you. Thank you kindly. I swear upon my birth name that I am your friend. No matter what might come out, no matter what I was, if you would do me the honor, allow me to be a true friend. Always.
At first glance, what's to come simply seems like more of the same, from Lap, from Patches.
Finally, you've come. Now I know
As soon as I saw him sitting like that, that was the cherry on top.
I've a little thanks to be giving. Go this way and peep past the broken staircase.
He's back.
Some awfully fine treasures just sitting there all alone. It'll change your life.
This swift kick down a hole fills you with frustration until you realize that he's actually kicked you where you want to go.
Right, that's what a lot of you guys
the ledge
said.
that leads out of this graveyard.
Right.
A setback that allows you to move forward.
So cool.
Every age, it seems, is tainted by the greed of men. Rubbish to one such as I, devoid of all worldly wants.
What a legend. Laughing with his mouth closed.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the way we are. I'll stick you in my prayers. A fine dark soul to you.
Wow.
For the first time, Patches helps you on your quest.
That all
in a
sounded
perfectly
different
fitting
knowing that
way.
he helped us.
He sets you on the path to the Church of Filianor, where he
That's
assists you
crazy.
one last time in your quest to weaken the Lord's grip on the ringed city. He did always despise clerics.
Damn it.
Charlatans, he called.
Again, man, with the summons. I'm starting to wish that I summoned more just so I could see these characters in action with me. That would have been so cool. Oh, I didn't even see that summon sign.
them, and it's fitting beyond words that Patches would play a part in undoing the greatest lie of all, undoing the greed of the gods that's rooted in faith, in Filianor, and in fire. Here you both stand, at the end of the world, undead, unbroken, yet we two could not be more different. Patches fought for no one but himself, for no cause other than to scoff at the greed of men. But you, he's seen your kind time and time and time again, and he outlived you all. Those who lost everything and grasped for the faintest glimmer of hope.
What a throwback.
Kind-hearted
If you know, you know.
fools, doomed by the very light that guides them. He's seen men throw away their lives for the truth, for to an undead life is meaningless. Patches probably figures, why seek the truth when greater men have tried and gone mad as a result? Even with the truth in tow, there is no fate for us other than the loss of self. Because even if you're selfless, you can't save everyone. No. No matter how hard you tried, in the end you couldn't save a single soul. And the more you try to help, the more you fight against evil, the more you will lose. For you're doomed to lose those closest to you. Family, friends. Some may even turn against you. For even with your boundless compassion, no one can foretell the consequences of your good intentions. All of this, it's just want and greed, in some shape or another.
Yeah.
A desire to look back at something that made your life worthwhile. Whether it's a thirst for knowledge, a desperate faith, some petty revenge. It's taken some crestfallen men eons to find something worth fighting for, and even then, they're fated to lose it all. For even the gods are in despair, the lords shy from their duty, and the last fire is fading. But something sets you two apart, and maybe the one thing that you both have in common is that you never looked back. Another thing I've never looked back from is switching from Skype to Discord.
This
And
fucking
you guys
guy.
know that I've actually never done a sponsorship on this channel. But this
Same. How on earth? Oh, I guess I did a giveaway, but that's not really a sponsor. Oh, that was such an amazing way to end this. Dude, I didn't even do it like on purpose, like to pick patches for last. What a legend. That's how he's managed to survive through it all. You know, no greed. That makes him very cool. Plain and simple. I can't put it in better words than Vaati just did. This guy's a fucking god. Let's be real here. I wish I had the capabilities of speaking like him and articulating my words the way he does. But guys, that's gonna do it. We've done it again. Prepared to cry. I did not cry. I was prepared. I did not cry. Let me know if you did. I love that we get to do these. They truly enhance the experience so much. Like, I can't imagine playing these games and not watching these videos after. Unless you understand everything, like you're just a fucking genius and you just like understand everything somehow and have like the best memory to like piece things together. I wouldn't do it any other way. I'm so grateful for VaatiVidya. I am so happy that he exists. There's a reason why he has 2.6 million subscribers. I think he honestly deserves more. The Prepared to Cry series for each and every one of these games has been absolutely incredible. I don't like missing any of them. They are so good. They explain the story so well. They make you fall in love with these characters that maybe you thought were just kind of boring. For example, for me, Hawkwood was like just like a whatever character really, but after watching his video, it's like you think about them in such a different way, and that's why I was saying earlier, like it totally enhances that second playthrough, and I honestly can't wait to do a second playthrough one day, man. Thank you to VaatiVidya. Thank you to you guys for always sticking around, man. If you made it to the end, make sure to let me know down below. You guys are amazing. Sekiro. I haven't played video games since last Thursday when we finished Dark Souls 3, and dude, I am already kind of scratching my neck for some more, and especially a new game. Thanks again for being here, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and follow me on Instagram. If you're still here, you don't follow me on Instagram, link's always down below. Appreciate you guys. Take care, and that's it. Peace.